We're smiling. Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of Witches and Wine. This is the show where we talk about witchy stuff and we drink wine. Clink and drink.
Clink and drink.
Clink and drink
Clink
to our
and drink.
guest, who's a regular on our show. He's frozen, but we can still hear. Oh, there he is. There he is. This is so good. Have we had this before?
Nope.
Yeah, this is really good. So before we get to our awesome guest, I want to give our disclaimer. Oh, well, first of all, I should introduce who I am. I am Lady Lola Stardust. I am the High Priestess of Children of the Crossroads ATC in Spokane, Washington.
And I'm Lord Silent, Stardust.
Stardust.
Stardust. I am the High Priest of Children of the Crossroads ATC here in Spokane.
And so before we get started, I like to do a little disclaimer. It has been brought to our attention that sometimes people do not like to learn about witchcraft or hear people talk about witchcraft when there's wine being partaken, because sometimes, and I'll admit, there are times when we've drank a lot of wine and we've gotten a little slurry, but as far as I'm concerned, it's always been fun and informative. So we'd like to tell those people that if you are not into that, even though wine is in the title, you have the power to get rid of us. You just click the X wherever it is. I point both ways, and it makes an X. So yeah. So you just click the X, and we disappear.
Magic.
Witchcraft. It's witchcraft.
And y'all, we ain't the first witches to sit around and talk witchy stuff and drink wine. Let's be real.
Let's be real. So before we get to our awesome guest, I'm going to turn this over to my husband, my high priest, my partner in crime, my everything. I've only had one sip of wine. Silent as Stardust, why don't you tell us about the wine that we are drinking?
I'd be happy to. Would you care to hold it for me?
I would love to hold it.
So tonight,
That's what she said.
I have chosen an El Esteco winery out of Argentina. And this is a Malbec blend that uses different Malbec grapes that are grown at different altitudes, so they get different notes and features, so they harmonize with each other. Going to be very rich and bold, very, very dark. Lot less fruit, more herbal notes, and a little bit of spice. 93 points rated, and a great value. You're going to find this for about $15 to $17 a bottle. So really excellent value for what it is. And wanted to do something from South America for many reasons tonight, as you guys will learn. Plan stuff out and make things work with what we have for guests if we're able to.
We try to get a wine that's similar to our guest, or some, as he does a pretty good job.
And this one is called El Esteco Extremos.
Santa Muerte's favorite.
It's what?
Santa Muerte.
Yeah.
Malbec wines, the ones when I gave it to her, that's her favorite.
Oh, well.
That I was going to open today that had been sitting in her altar for months.
Oh, my gosh.
I got to work late.
Yeah.
Home from work later than I expected.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Well,
your favorite
that's my favorite wine is Malbec. So, I mean,
I
love it. I have a lot of similarities with Santa Muerte. I'm okay with that. So, speaking of Santa Muerte, let's go to our guest here. Now, it is Mictlán MoonShadow, formerly known as Ramon Delgado, who, if you look on our past episodes, you will see that name. And and you will enjoy those past episodes. He's been on quite a bit, and so we've got quite the good rapport with each other. So welcome, Mictlán. I am so glad that you are here. Let's talk about the name change. First of all, I find this fascinating. Can you tell us how this new name? Us witches love to change our superhero names. It's just the thing we do.
Well, the name Mictlán MoonShadow came about when I did my dedication ritual into the coven I'm working with the ATC Wise tradition. And a few days after my dedication ritual, I had this dream that I was sitting around our coven stead, and we're all around the kitchen table talking, and with all my coven mates. And this name, Mictlán MoonShadow, is what everyone was calling me.
Yeah.
So that was just a gift from God, as saying, "Hey, this is who you are now."
And the relation between Santa Muerte and Mictlán?
Well, in Nahua, which is the native language of Mesoamerica, both in the Mexica, which later got anglicized into the word Aztec. And I can go into all of that here in a moment. Mictlán is the lowest layer on the underworld.
Yeah.
It is where, after a long time of trials and tribulations, making all the way down of the underworld from the middle world into the depths of the underworld, is where the dead come to rest. And given the fact that I do so much work not only with Santa Muerte but with the dead as a medium, it fits so well.
Yeah, it's so serendipitous that the goddess will give us something, and we're like, oh my gosh, I've been working with this, or this is associated with who I am, or and that gives me shivers. I love that. I love that we get to experience that as people that work with what's out there, what's beyond. A lot of witches work with the dead. I do not work with the dead. I do if they come to me, but that is not one of my talents. But being a witch, it's going to happen. Even if you don't do it all the time, it will happen to us because we do play with that energy. So when I do have the dead come to me, it's very strong and it's a very important message. And then I won't hear from any other dead for years. And that's just how I work.
When you work with Santa Muerte, eventually working with the dead is inescapable. Because Santa Muerte, the ancestors are her people.
Yes.
That those are her peeps in spirit.
Yeah. Well, and I remember you talking about her. It might have been a past show we did. But I remember you said, and I thought this, and I've passed this on to people who are now getting interested in Santa Muerte, is she is not the goddess of death. She is death itself.
Okay, that's an important way to that's a good place to get started.
Let's talk about that. She is death.
Yeah, Santa Muerte is not the goddess of death. Another thing that you will hear very much, particularly in the pagan community, is like, oh my God, I love Santa Muerte. She's like a Mexican Persephone.
Yeah.
Or, oh my God, I love Santa Muerte. She's like Hecate. And no, Santa Muerte is not Persephone. Santa Muerte is definitely not Hecate.
No.
She is Santa Muerte, and she is not a goddess of death. She is the living embodiment of death itself. And for those of you who work with Hecate and want to work with Santa Muerte, don't call Santa Muerte Hecate and Hecate Santa Muerte. Neither one of them likes it.
Yeah. Oh, your sound went out.
We can see you, but we can't hear you.
Yeah. The Wi-Fi is yucky where he's at. Okay, so you're muted. You might want to unmute. No, I think you're still muted. We see the little mute sign.
It'll appear on the bottom left.
Yeah, it should be on the bottom left. It's okay. This is what this is live, people.
There we go.
There we go. Yay! All right. Okay. So Hecate and Santa Muerte.
Yeah. Dealing with Hecate and Santa Muerte in conjunction, like in the same altar, it's like having too many queens in one castle. Mm-hmm. That is why Santa Muerte is Santa Muerte and Hecate is Hecate.
Yes.
They are way too much alike. I understand that from worshippers of Hecate, kind of like relating that way.
Yes.
But I've had Hecate severely upset at me when I work with her because I cross the streams, and she goes, And I had Santa Muerte come to me when I did Wiccan ritual, and she's like, don't you Wiccanize me. You're Mexican, you know better.
Don't you Wiccanize me. Yeah, I totally get that.
Because there are ways for the pagan community to build a foundation in traditional Mexican brujeria and curanderismo, which is where Santa Muerte comes from, and then build on top of it to create your own personal practice that is authentic to your pagan and Wiccan path, but you still have to have that foundation, which brings me to one of the reasons we're revisiting this subject for today's show, is because that's why I came up with a book that that is being published by Wicca Press, called Beneath the Veil of Death, the Worship of La Santa Muerte. And one thing that you will see in the big publishing houses that they have all of these books about Santa Muerte, I haven't once in over 20 years since this started seen a book by a major publisher about Santa Muerte by a Mexican person.
Yeah, I've noticed that too.
Not one. They're either scholars who study Santa Muerte from an anthropological or some other scholarly perspective who are American, or they're people who connect with the Mexican community because they think Santa Muerte is cool, and the Mexican community talks to them. But there is a somewhat of a loss in translation when it comes to a lot of what Santa Muerte is when you talk about it from an outsider's viewpoint.
Yeah. Well, now, real quick, those of us, well, I mean, I'm half Mexican, so, and I grew up with a lot of my mother's, what she got from my grandmother, a lot of the traditions and a lot of the crossover of Catholicism and paganism. It was, that's a thing. And we just didn't have a name for it because my mom kind of just like, well, that's what my mother did. And so, but do you worry about, are you okay, hon? Oh, you're breathing hard. Sorry. Maybe you were excited. Okay. Do you worry about cultural appropriation? I always have to bring this up because so many people work with these different deities and may not be connected to that, DNA wise.
I address that in the book in several points throughout the book. But the thing that I keep repeating, not only in the book, but to my students in the pagan community when I teach classes about Santa Muerte, but also to just people who are part of the community. And the way I say it is that death is not a cultural concept. It is a human experience.
Yeah.
Every body dies.
Yes.
Because of that, we will all be touched by Santa Muerte at one point or another in our lives.
Absolutely.
Be it when someone we love is taken away from us. And that's one of her aspects, La Madre de Lágrimas, the mother of tears, that one that brings us to tears of grief. But also when we ourselves will one day die.
Yeah.
If you talk to the elders of the community, the ones that have been around for 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years, the elders of the community of Santa Muerte, they will tell you that ever since around when 2000 hit, Santa Muerte just opened the door of her temple and just came out and went, "Look at me." He just came out full force.
Yeah.
There is this story of how that happened with a woman by the name of Enriqueta Romero. She's an elderly lady in the barrio of Tepito, which if you look it up in your research, Tepito is believed to be the most dangerous neighborhood, not only in Mexico City, but by many people in the entire world.
Oh, wow.
Tepito is a place that is completely controlled by criminals, the mob. Yeah. And when the police go there, they only go there in SWAT teams.
Wow.
The police precinct that deals with Tepito has Santa Muerte patches in their uniforms, most of them. Because they live that closely connected to death. Death is such a real thing for them.
Yeah.
Enriqueta Romero, she was gifted a life-size statue of Santa Muerte.
Wow.
And she was going to put it up as a thank you for a personal miracle that Santa Muerte had done for her. Like, hey, Santa Muerte, you did me a solid. She will tell you she has been a lifelong worshiper of Santa Muerte.
Yeah.
But she had no space for a new giant Santa Muerte statue in her home. So she put it in her front window. That's what started this whole mess.
Oh,
this
wow.
elderly Mexican woman, out of devotion for Santa Muerte, putting it in the window for everyone to see. And then all these other people went, yeah, I do it too. I do it too. And other people who had no idea who she was is like, how do I learn about that?
Yeah.
Elders of the community. That is how the movement began to be known to the world. It says when she put her statue in the window to say, thank you, Santa Muerte, for this huge miracle that you have given me. And it just exploded to the entire world from there.
Wow.
Till this day, it's a piece of pilgrimage for people from all over the world who want to brave the streets of Tepito to go worship, to go do devotion to Santa Muerte.
Wow.
But it is a place that, especially if you're an outsider, for example, you would be asked to not put on makeup as a lady. You would be asked to not dress pretty, to wear unflattering clothes, to look plain and not even very curvaceous, and to stay there as little as possible, because just your presence, if you look too pretty, could get you abducted and killed, or even sold into slavery.
Wow.
You do not stay in the streets of Tepito after dark.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's important to understand that, because that is the origins of Santa Muerte in the modern world. It is people who are struggling just to survive.
Yeah.
Santa Muerte is the spiritual resource for people outside of the good graces of society.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of the people who worship Santa Muerte in Mexico City are, yes, there are cops, but there are also taxi drivers who don't know if the next person who's going to get into their cab is going to slit their throat for money.
Yeah.
It is prostitutes who
Yeah.
don't know whether or not they're coming home.
Yep.
Members of the trans community. So
Yeah.
if any of my trans or your trans viewers are watching this, Santa Muerte is the patroness of the trans community for Mexican people.
Oh, wow.
Because
I
there is
love
such a huge danger. But also the trans community is not very welcome in traditional Mexican society. So
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot, and particularly trans women, are forced into prostitution just to survive. So there is that crossover there. So
Yeah.
anyone, like people who are drug dealers or thieves, or just this person who's making minimum wage or is barely getting by as a janitor in some big house, you know, if you are struggling just to get by and the church has failed you, the police has failed you, the doctors have failed you, the psychiatrists have failed you, hell, even the curandera, the traditional healer has failed you, the black magician, the brujo has failed you, Santa Muerte is who you go to.
Yeah. I
When
love that.
you realize that there is no one else in this world who gives a flying leap, whether you're alive or dead, Santa Muerte.
She does.
She cares.
It's very, she is for the downtrodden and the the less fortunate. And we were talking about earlier before the show started about Hecate. When people say, "Oh, Santa Muerte is like Hecate," no, but there is a similarity, because that's where Hecate's dipnon, her dinners, are about. Actually, there's a lot of speculation and theory that it was for feeding the poor. So that's why, and also that's why you would put the food out as an offering at the crossroads, and or on your front, and the poor would come and eat that food. Hecate is right there with people who can't afford to eat, the criminals. So I love that. I relate to that, because that's one of my favorite things about working with Hecate is that compassion.
It is interesting how deeply that runs in the underprivileged people. Like for me, the reason Santa Muerte came to me is not only because I do healing work, and she started out not as the saint of the narcos and the drug dealers and the criminals. She started out as the person that when you went to the tiny old lady who does healing with herbs and candles and oils and all that shit, she was the one who was doing the work with the curandera spiritually.
Yeah.
Her original form in Mexican culture is with the healers.
Yes.
That's how she came to me. But the reason she says that she had picked me in particular, it's because no one in my entire family wants me around. My blood family, they don't care whether I'm alive or dead, and particularly because I'm gay and because of the spirituality that I practice.
Oh, yeah. You've got a double whammy on you.
So I have that energy, particularly with the Mexican community. In traditional Mexican society, homosexuality is not welcome. It is not acceptable. On
Absolutely
top of that, I practice a religion that is outside of the norm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put on top of that my traditional training with my elders as a child. So I have a lot of things that place me outside of society, out of my culture.
Didn't Santa Muerte come to you when you were deathly ill? Is that I think
different story?
Different story. Okay, I'm remembering we've had so many conversations.
No, this particular happened to me. Santa Muerte came to me when I was taking a class on shamanic journey work.
Okay.
And the teacher basically gave us to go into a shamanic journey to meet the main spirit that was going to be our helper spirit in shamanic healing. And I was expecting Our Lady of Guadalupe, which more on her here in a second, because that's the saint who watches over my family.
Mm-hmm.
Our entire family, in my mother's side of the family, she is the patroness of that bloodline.
Yes.
Of that set of brujos and curanderos. Our Lady of Guadalupe did not show up. All of a sudden, there I am in the upper world looking for a helper spirit, and there's just Santa Muerte going, come on, you know, you're starting to get it. Come
Yeah.
on. Oh, you got it. I'm like, who are you?
Welcome.
And then I made a phone call to my sister in Mexico, who is like, she was starting to train with people herself as an adult. And she had been having visions of Santa Muerte as well.
Wow.
So now I mentioned the thing about Our Lady of Guadalupe. This is an insider secret that it's in the book, but I'm giving it to your viewers because I want the education about Santa Muerte out there.
Absolutely.
It needs to be understood. A lot of people see her specifically as death, but Santa Muerte craves the one and only thing that she can never have:
Life.
Life
itself.
Oh, yes.
Love, yeah.
Oh, love?
Never give Santa Muerte an offering in her altar that is dead. If you give her flowers, if you give her food, the second the flowers begin to die, the second the offerings of food begin to go bad, you throw them away.
Okay.
It's considered an insult to her to give her something dead.
Oh.
However,
Interesting.
her sister, Our Lady of Guadalupe, because they're twin sisters,
Okay.
life
And
death.
death. Yeah.
They're twin sisters. Our Lady of Guadalupe came from the Mexica as goddess of the Earth Mother, Teotihuacan, which from Nahua into English translates to Our Lady and Mother Earth.
Okay.
Santa Muerte came from the goddess of the underworld, Mictlán MoonShadow. Don't ask me to spell it.
Those Aztec, the Ickles and the X's and the
Don't ask me to spell it. It's been decades since I've been able to write and spell well in Nahua.
Yeah.
She is the belly of the earth for the ancestors. When someone gets buried in the earth when they died, they are resting in the womb of Mictlán MoonShadow. They are resting in the womb of death. And when you are reborn through the energy of the Teotihuacan, you are leaving the womb of the mother. That is why they are twin sisters. It's very similar to the Wiccan concept of the triple goddess, that they're three separate goddesses, but it's the same archetype. Our Lady of Guadalupe and Santa Muerte share that trait with the European goddesses. Is that yes, they are separate entities, but they are two faces of the same archetype.
Well, there's that. I did not know that. This is something new. I'm very familiar with Our Lady of Guadalupe because of my Mexican background. So I didn't even know that was a connection there. How exciting. That really gets I got the goosebumps. Yeah, I love that. I love that. Real quick, I want to touch upon, and again, we've had you several times. We did have once one of your dear friends who moved over to Europe, Rebecca.
Oh yeah, Luna.
And she did a thing on Santa Muerte, and so it was either her or you that talked about the different colored robes.
Both of us. Actually,
okay, yeah.
Luna is the only student in Brujeria that I've ever that had what it took to walk the path.
Yeah.
Every other person who has come to me for teaching in Brujeria, and I'm like, all right, I don't gatekeep in Brujeria. I don't.
Yeah.
I just basically make sure that that's what you want, because it would test you to the point of breaking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sorry. Brujeria will test you to the point of breaking.
Oh yeah.
And Luna was the only student I've ever had who didn't break.
Oh well, that doesn't surprise me.
She took to the point in which she went to her limit, and then she goes, "I'm going to make it my own now."
Yeah.
This is as far as I can get with the traditional stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was my first student in Mexican Brujeria and Curanderismo, particularly with Santa Muerte. I would be considered her padrino.
Okay. Her what?
Godfather.
Oh, okay. And how did you say that again?
Padrino.
Padrino?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love that.
Godmother is the madrina. That means godmother.
Yeah. Okay, I love that.
It's not only a title for the members of the clergy of Santa Muerte. The word madrina is also one of Santa Muerte's titles.
Okay, I love that.
In Spanish is la madrina.
So the different colored robes. Can you go over that real quick?
Okay, I normally only deal with the first three because they are the originals. Okay, The white robe Santa Muerte, La Niña Blanca,
Mhm.
sometimes called the white little girl in English. In Spanish, is La Niña Blanca. She is the healer of the group.
Okay.
Okay, she is the one that when you need comforting and consoling, and you're in a bad space, particularly if someone has died, she will hold you in her arms until you're better.
That makes sense with the color white. It's such a healing.
When you don't know what color you need to pray to for a miracle, you pray to the white Santa Muerte.
Okay.
Because she is the overall embodiment of all the other colors. Then
Isn't
there
that,
is
isn't that interesting because white is all the colors?
Yeah.
That makes so much sense. Yeah.
Then there is what we call La Dama Roja, which is the red lady.
Yeah.
Which is the goddess of love.
Okay.
I want to make a disclaimer here, and I'm not going to point out the specific book, but I once was working doing readings at a metaphysical shop in Seattle, and I picked up a major publishing house book about Santa Muerte. And when I flipped through it, I flipped it open to the page where the chapter about the red Santa Muerte started. And what the author said is, the red Santa Muerte is the goddess of love. She is the queen of the elementals of the south and the powers of fire. The red colors of fire taint her blood and her energy with passion. And I wanted to throw the book across the room.
That doesn't even sound right to me, and I'm not a scholar of Santa Muerte, but that doesn't even sit right with me.
In traditional Mexican culture, particularly with the indigenous people where Santa Muerte came from, she is not the goddess of the south. The south is controlled by the god Huitzilopochtli, the god of war.
Okay.
And his color is not red, it's blue.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This is why I'm writing the book, because later in an interview online, the author of that book said, yeah, I never even heard about Santa Muerte until my publisher asked me to write a book about her because they liked my writing style.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah. That
Did
is
you just
why
scream?
Oh, that's why I wanted to throw the book across the so yeah, between that and the publish and the authors giving too much energy to the idea that she's some type of cartel drug goddess, it's just so hard to find authenticity. Now, when you deal with a Dama Roja, back to the subject at hand, now that we've done a little rabbit hole, she is a goddess of love. But the magic of Santa Muerte when it comes to love is very different from paganism, and especially with Wicca. Okay? Yeah. In Wicca, we understand that love comes as a gift from goddess, that is the love that is good for us.
Yeah.
That we do not control other people through love magic, because that is that karma, that is the laws, not only the threefold law for those who are book Wiccan.
Yeah.
In book Wicca, you learn about the threefold law and you learn about the Wiccan read.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with initiatory Wicca, which can be led back all the way to Gerald Gardner, who founded Wicca, there are between 150 to 200 Wiccan laws that you're supposed to follow. And more than one of them deals with the utilization of magic and what's ethical and what isn't. Santa Muerte work does not carry the same level of ethics.
No.
In Santa Muerte work, in brujería and curanderismo, your ethical compass is justification, which is strange, not too strangely enough, shared with Southern Conjure, also known as hoodoo.
Yes, no, I know about this. That's why that's why the I love that you have been able to work with Wiccan and Santa Muerte, because they don't have the Wiccan read. Only us Wiccans have the Wiccan read.
It's interesting. There's this story that if you go into the rabbit holes of the internet about Santa Muerte, there's this one story that keeps popping up among the practitioners, among the devotees of Santa Muerte. And it's a story about a woman in Mexico City. This woman had been married to her high school sweetheart since she was barely a teen. She was in her teens when they get married. They had children together, but her husband had a wandering eye, so he got a mistress, and the mistress wanted him all to herself.
Oh, okay. I see where this is going.
She went to a brujo who worked with Santa Muerte. She bought a statue of the red Santa Muerte. They blessed it in the name of Santa Muerte to connect specifically with the mistress. This is your Santa Muerte, that thing. She went home, she put it in her altar, she did some prayers, she did some spells, she left offerings. Sure enough, the husband left the wife.
Yeah.
But the wife, here is the thing. The
Mhm.
wife was a single mother with several children, with no job. She was a housekeeper, and she had no training in anything on how to take care of her children financially other than housework.
Yeah.
She was going to starve to death.
Yeah.
So she went to the other brujo down the street, who was this crusty old man that the entire community was afraid of him. And he had a better relationship with Santa Muerte than the other brujo who took her away, her husband away.
Okay.
Because that's one thing you will realize. Santa Muerte will answer anyone's prayers, but she does pick favorites.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Okay.
No problem picking favorites. So she went to one of her chosen ones, one of her favorites, someone destined to be her priest. He got one of the statues, blessed it on her name, and says, "This is your red Santa Muerte now. Take it home, make an offering or whatever you can afford. You don't have to break the bank. What you have, that means to you, give it to her, and pray for your husband to come back to you and be loyal to your family, and you will never lack a thing again."
Yeah.
Work like that.
Wow.
That is the energy of brujeria and curanderismo in Mexican culture.
Yeah.
It is not, are you going to do the right thing because otherwise bad things are going to happen? Is, are you justified?
Well,
And if
it's
you're
about
not,
it's
your
to
magic is
me.
going to come back and bite you in the ass like it did that other woman.
Yeah, to me, you know, I'm not, I'm fascinated with hexes and curses and defending yourself, and because as much as I'm very Wiccan and I do believe in the balance and the energy, I also do believe that we have to protect ourselves and we have to watch out for ourselves, because especially nowadays, right?
Oh, it's scary.
That's fucking scary. I mean, look what's going to happen, you know, coming up soon. Where it's going to be a different world. I wonder if that's the right, and you're coming out at the perfect time with the Santa Muerte, because I think that she would be perfect for all of us that are scared of what's going to happen, right?
Well, just to touch on this very lightly, the book that I wrote about Santa Muerte, I started it about 8 years ago when it first began.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
There are mentions to Darth Cheeto in the book, and how Santa Muerte is worried that there was a white supremacist in the White House at the moment.
Darth Cheeto. I have not heard that one. May I borrow that from you for other things?
Run with it. Now, back to the colors of the robe.
The colors of the robes. Yeah. See, we do this. We do this. I love it. I love it.
The black Santa Muerte is the Santa Muerte of protection.
Protection. Okay, interesting.
She protects you from anything. There's a prayer in the book that I give, like, very loosely, because it's a traditional prayer, and that's something that I do in the book, is that I omit the traditional prayers out of respect for the elders in the community who prefer to teach them orally and not through a book. But the basic idea of the prayers is that when you see Santa Muerte with her mantle, with her shroud, if you are in trouble in any way, especially spiritually, you ask her, "Santa Muerte, cover me with your dark mantle that I am protected from all harm."
Okay, that makes sense.
She places the mantle over you, the shroud, and you feel it, and nothing can touch you. Nothing, especially on a spiritual level. Now, there's a similar prayer to her sister, Our Lady Guadalupe, about healing. She has a mantle adorned in Mexican curanderismo, not in the Catholic version, but the part that the healers, the traditional healers of Mexico use. There are 12 stars in total in her mantle.
Yes.
And you pray to Our Lady Guadalupe, Nuestra Señora Guadalupe, sáname, cúrame, cúbreme con tu manto de 2 estrellas. Our Lady Guadalupe, heal me, cover me with your 12-star mantle.
Ooh, I love that.
And if she puts the shroud over you, it will heal you from anything. I've done that here the traditional way over people, and people have gotten out of wheelchairs.
I love that.
And they stayed out of those wheelchairs until they died from the illness that was supposed to keep them on a wheelchair for the rest of their life. Like, in 3 days before they passed away, they went to bed, they never got out of bed, and then they passed away.
Oh, wow.
And it was years that they got out of their life. Back
Yeah.
again.
So those are the main three: is the red, the white, and the black. Wait a minute. I see something similar here. Ah!
Hey.
Hey!
The Black Santa Muerte, for those of you who are privy to magic outside of the Wiccan spectrum, if you want to work painful magic, that is the Santa Muerte.
Yeah.
She's the one that would smack a man. She will slap a bitch.
She'll cut a bitch.
She'll totally cut a bitch.
But yeah, it's the same as the I know the ATC is black, white, and red, which is maiden, mother, crone. Yeah.
Santa Muerte. Okay, this is the way my elders taught me about Santa Muerte. This is that yes, the black is supposedly supposed to help you with curses, but that's a misconception. Okay, there are people in the Mexican community who will swear up and down that if you give Santa Muerte your bottle of tequila every for the prayer, she will basically murder anyone you want.
Wow.
However, there's a distinction about this from the perspective of native Mexican healers, be them purely native or mixed with Catholicism. They both agree on this. Santa Muerte has a tendency to attract attention from lower entities than her, dark beings that the Catholic Church will call demons.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Other cultures call them different things.
They call them
other cultures will call them other things.
Okay.
What we agree with is that they are attracted to her because she is dead.
Mm-hmm.
It is like rats getting close to a dead corpse, feeding on. When you work with baneful magic and Santa Muerte, and you are not justified, if you don't have a damn good reason for casting that curse, Santa Muerte will not answer that prayer.
Oh, heck,
However,
yeah.
However, those other people, those other beings, they will. Now, there's a huge difference in how they handle things. If you don't give Santa Muerte her altar offerings or prayers that you promised her, or keep up the relationship, constantly give her devotion and offerings, she will just walk away. And she will come back when you are devoted to her again.
Yeah.
However, if you ask one of those dark beings to murder your, let's say, boyfriend's wife, so you can get in that marriage, and then you stop giving the offerings within days or even hours of you not making the proper offering, you will either end up in jail or dead or eventually dead.
Yeah.
Your actions will catch up to you the second you miss one single offering, one single prayer, one single devotion to those beings. Because while Santa Muerte is filled with compassion, they don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's why, and again, I bring it back to Hecate, because I work with Hecate, and there's so many things that I find similar. They call Hecate in some cultures the goddess of, oh my gosh, my too much wine, but the things that go out there and scare us. So not necessarily demons, but goddess of ghosts, goddess of restless dead. That's what it is. The restless dead.
For what I remember reading about Hecate, there is this European concept, particularly in the Nordic countries, about the what is it called? The oh my God! See, I'm not drinking. I'm getting drunk off of you.
I know. You said drink for you, so
I should not have said that to a witch.
Yeah, there you go. We're getting.
There's this thing about the wild hunt.
Yeah.
The horde of dead spirits of the ancestors that come throughout the night in holy nights.
Yeah.
There are versions of that is Hecate's version of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of similarities between them, but yeah, that's the thing. If you're going to be working with Santa Muerte, this is something else that I touch up in the book a little bit. There's very few spirits that she will allow either in her altar or adjacent to her altar.
Mm-hmm.
She has her little group of peeps that she gets along with. Everybody else, different room or different wall in the room. Like my altar to Hecate and my altar to Santa Muerte are in opposite ends of the room. Yeah. They're literally staring at each other from across the room.
They're checking each other out.
Size each other up.
Yeah, I had like the first time I started working with Hecate many years ago, because she was the one that called me to the initiatory path in Wicca. She was not used to Santa Muerte. It was a new connection for her.
Yeah.
And Santa Muerte was like, you can work with her. She can be Wiccan with her. When you're doing healing work, you come back to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the thing. But as you know, as a priestess of Hecate, Hecate is also very possessive of her priest.
Oh, jeez Louise.
This is what she told me, okay? She goes, I'll give you a year. You either get off that red of that bony bitch or I'm leaving. The year went by. I'm doing really well. I actually, by Hecate, a statue by a very prominent sculptor in the pagan community, a statue that normally goes thousands of dollars. I saved up for months to get her the statue, and I'm moving the altar. I'm going to prepare her altar for the new statue. I open it up the box to get it out. It already broken.
Oh shit!
Thousands of dollars down the drain that I could not get back.
Oh no!
Because it was wrapped properly.
Interesting.
It was perfectly cushioned and everything. It should not have broken, but it did. I tried to get the old statue back into her altar. It broke too.
Oh God!
And then I hear inside my head, Hecate went, I told you I was leaving.
Yep.
Yeah.
She
almost lit my my TV stand on fire because I pissed her Hecate off, and I had a candle burning, and I was throwing a little fit about an assignment when I was at Wiccan seminary, and I did not denounce Hecate, but I was just like, fine, I'm not going to work with Hecate because I didn't like the assignment because I'm a brat. And I had a little moment, and then I was doing all this, and all of a sudden I look, and the liquid wax all lit on fire. So it was not just a candle flame, it was actually a big candle with just a fire coming out of it. You remember that?
Yep.
And it just came out, and it almost lit our TV stand on fire. And I ran, and I'm putting it out, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, Hecate. I won't do that.
Now, for those of you who want to work with both Santa Muerte and Hecate, this is how I solved my dilemma. Last year at Spring Mysteries Festival, the vessel of Hecate in 2024 is someone that I was very familiar with. They're a really dear friend of mine. And I asked them, you work with Santa Muerte too, and you work with Hecate. And what they told me was like, oh, honey, you're getting it all wrong. It's like, what? I don't give them the room to fight. Yeah. I have to tell them, okay, I get it. You don't get along very well, but you need to work it out between yourselves and leave me out of it.
Oh, yeah.
So when I got back from Spring Mysteries last year, I actually got into my temple where I have both of the statues, and I went, okay, I get it. You're fighting over me. You've been doing it for a while. And I get and I understand that both Santa Muerte and Hecate believe that we human beings are beautiful, magical beings filled with witchcraft and magic and power. And it is true. But we don't have the kind of juice that gods have.
Oh, God, no.
We don't have that level of power. The two of you do. So work it out with each other.
I like that. Well, and here's the thing. Hecate is a jealous goddess. I know we keep going to Hecate, and we'll get back to Santa Muerte, because every time that I've tried to work with a very powerful goddess or welcome that goddess into my home, Morrigan, Hecate and the Morrigan don't like each other. Hecate and Lilith, they're okay at times, but still. So Hecate is very possessive with her priestesses. Very possessive.
Santa Muerte is that way, particularly with the people you allow in your life.
Yeah.
As a gay man, I have such a hard time dating because Santa Muerte will just not want me to date unless she approves of them.
Is Santa Muerte your fruit fly?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I can totally see it. She's like whispering in your ear. No, Mictlán, no. You can do so much better.
Yeah. In the Mexican community, she is the patroness of the gay community and the entire alphabet mafia.
Yeah, yeah.
We were talking about Spring Mysteries. Spring Mysteries is coming up for those of you who don't know about Spring Mysteries, Spring Mysteries is the modern day continuation of the Eleusinian Mysteries. It is a festival dedicated to the mysteries of the goddess Demeter and Persephone. And you will get to live her mysteries, and that's as far as I can say, because it is an initiatory experience. Yep. I am actually the vessel of Charon this year.
Yes, I know.
I get to embody the energy of the ferrymen of the dead. So if you bring mysteries, you may see me walking around in full regalia, but that won't be me. That's going to be Charon.
That's Charon.
So those of you who know me and don't know this, be aware. You may talk to me at Spring Mysteries Festival, and you may get Charon.
That happens a lot. Yes, it does. Absolutely. You know, we are unable to go. We have a lot of things going on where we need, you know, property taxes, budgeting, but now you gave me a second reason for going. God, I would totally go. First reason was to see Jason Mankey, and now second reason would be to see you as Chiron. Like that would be excellent. But yeah,
it's going to be an amazing festival.
I'm so excited for you guys. I know that, and I've been to the Spring Mysteries Festival when it was at Fort Flagler. When it was online, I was the vessel of Hecate. I was also the vessel of Balbo. So it's an amazing experience. If anyone needs any information, you can just go to atcwicca.org, and they have all the Spring Mysteries information. I highly recommend it if you have not experienced.
It is a
life-changing.
It is a soul-changing experience.
It's soul-changing.
It's what helped me get on my path.
It got him on his path. Yeah.
It will change you forever. And I have a discount coupon for all of you. So if you register with my discount coupon, you get 10% off. And the discount.
What is your discount?
Boats with a capital B. Then oars. Boats and oars.
Is it all one word?
Yes, 10. And the number 10.
OARS. That's it, right? Let me see.
I got 10.
Oh, 10.
Yeah, the number 1 and the number 0.
Remove that one and put the 10.
I got it, 10.
Okay,
yeah, and then you guys.
I'm going to confirm it for you, okay? I'm going to look it up.
Yeah.
Make sure I got it right.
Oh, it's not doing it. There we go. Boats and oars 10, and this is for I'm going to get atcwicca.org.
Spring Mysteries Festival.
Springmysteries.org.
And you get 10% off on your registration.
There you go. I'm just going to do that because that's the easiest place. You go to atcwicca.org.
And you'll find
see all of it. You can find all of it. Unfortunately, we are not able to go, but we can speak firsthand that it is an amazing experience.
Be aware there's only so many slots this year. There's only I believe 300 slots, and it's already close to selling out. So
wow.
If you want to go, after you get off this call, this little YouTube channel, go straight to that website and register. Because it is more than likely going to sell out this year.
Yeah. It every year it gets closer and closer to selling out because it is
just keeps growing.
It keeps growing, which is what we want.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now that we go on that rabbit hole,
yes.
Let's go to the rest of the subject at hand, which is Santa Muerte.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, it's interesting how Santa Muerte, as I said, likes to pick her favorites. But, there are a lot of Santa Muerte practitioners out there who get incredibly triggered when I say that. I have been flat out verbally attacked over that.
Yeah.
Both in person and on the internet.
I bet.
Hear you, she loves everyone equally, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you haven't, you just don't see it, do you?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because there is a certain flavor of spirituality, a vibration within the soul of the devotee that plugs into her energy back. It's not only that she chooses favorites, it's that she chooses as her priesthood the people who are best suited to be of service to her. That is what I mean when I say she picks favorites.
Are there people I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt, but if I don't say it now, I'll forget. Are there people that may not get picked as their favorite, but they just show devotion.
Yes.
And so that's I get what you're saying, because not everyone can be the chosen one, but you can support the chosen ones and show your loyalty to her flock,
and
right?
It's equally valid. It's
Yeah,
absolutely it's both equally valid. Neither one of those paths is better than the other.
Yeah.
It's not, because your devotion to Santa Muerte is what makes your magic in Santa Muerte work.
Yeah.
It is your connection to her. And it's interesting because there can be people who have the perfect energy to match hers, who mistreat her and who neglect the relationship with her. And she goes, yeah, do you see that guy over there that I didn't pick? He's been praying to me every day for the last 10 years. I'm going to go work with him.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's commitment.
It is very valid. But it's interesting because in traditional Mexican brujeria and curanderismo, you don't just go to a bruja. You don't just go to a curandera and go, I want to learn what you know. Traditionally, it is taught down family bloodlines. If you're not a member of that family, you're not learning it. And if you do learn it from a member of that family, it's because they looked at you and they went, oh, let's say that is Santa Muerte. Santa Muerte is calling you. Santa Muerte wants to work with you. Santa Muerte wants you to learn. That's how I ended up with Luna. We talked about my friend Luna who moved to Europe. When I met her, we became really good friends. We became roommates. And one day, there it was. I'm like, oh, Santa Muerte is calling you.
Yeah.
That's how she began training with me.
Yeah.
And I know that out of me saying all of this, there are going to be people who are going to be asking, do you take students? And at the moment, the answer to that question is no.
Yeah.
I am currently not taking any students for the path of brujeria because I have other commitments to my life right now that do not allow me to pay the attention that a student in that particular path deserves.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of devotion and dedication.
But it's good to be aware of that.
Yeah.
And I cannot do it justice because it's a very taxing and flat out dangerous path to walk. And if you don't,
people have to understand that these Hispanic and the more like voodoo and hoodoo and all
the African traditions and the Latin American traditions.
Yeah, it's different than us Wiccans, and we're not saying it's better. You got to be prepared to go places that you may not. You got to go way out of your comfort zone, and saying that to a witch is a lot because as witches we do go out of our comfort zone, but you really have no idea.
To be ridden by the
being ridden by the Loa, or all that stuff.
So much more intense.
It's really intense.
It is a completely different animal.
Oh, absolutely.
And okay, I lost my chin up.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. If Santa Muerte took it out of my head, it's because it's not meant to be spoken. It's as simple as that.
But the choosing the favorites and the commitment, and you can't give your students right now if they ask to be your students. You can't give them the time right now.
It's not just the time; it's the energy that is involved as well.
Yes, the energy.
To be someone's padrino, to be someone's sponsor into the tradition, requires a certain amount of safekeeping of that soul until they're ready for themselves, because there is this dissonance between what traditional Wicca would teach and traditional Mexican brujeria. A lot of traditional Mexican people will tell you that you're on your own. Santa Muerte will keep you safe if you ask. Your elders will guide you. But the world is not a safe place for you unless you yourself make it safe.
Yep.
Then you have the dissonance with that from the Wiccan community. We have so many Wiccan elders that will tell you, yes, this is a safe universe. We live in a safe universe, and Goddess keeps us safe. Now, that difference comes from the way we walk the path.
Yep.
God keeps us safe in Wicca because we're sticking to the parameters built within Wicca. That is the safety that Goddess provides. In brujeria and curanderismo, including the work with Santa Muerte, those definitions, those guidelines are not there. You really are on your own. And your devotion to Santa Muerte is the only thing keeping you alive. And if
Do you know what it?
if you don't have a madrina that is going to give you the time of day to teach you to navigate those waters safely, you are not going to make it. I had a student who came to me who the first thing I told them, you don't have what it takes to be my student. The places I have to take you, the things I have to show you, they're going to destroy you. You don't have what it takes. But this is another one of those proverbial harmonies that want to learn everything, and they're dead set that you cannot tell me that I don't have what it takes. I'm a powerful being.
Mhm.
That they push on, and I'm like, okay, I'm not gatekeeping. I warned you. And surely enough, several years into our training regimen, they did something so epically fucked up for themselves that they destructed. They ended up in jail. They,
wow.
Jesus.
they lost their job, they lost their career, their family forsake them, everything fell apart. Because especially, this is true of both Wicca and brujeria and curanderismo, but it's especially marked in the work with Santa Muerte. And this is that Santa Muerte will not just gently allow you to look into the darkness of your soul. She will shove your bitch ass into that abyss and expect you to get out on your own.
Yep. Yeah.
And
Well, it's like kids.
Goddess
Oh, go
has
ahead.
a finesse about that work, right?
Yeah.
Goddess will go, honey, that's your demon. Deal with it. I'll be watching from over here, making sure you're safe. Santa Muerte is like, hold my beer and watch this shit. Boom.
She pushes you into a magical hole and says you're on your own.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And that's what I try to warn people, when it comes to this particular path. Is that a lot of the safety nets that Eurocentric forms of witchcraft have to offer are not in place in brujeria and curanderismo.
Yeah.
It's a completely different religion. And it really pisses me off. Like about a year or 2 years ago, there was this very prominent member of the occult community who started this epic rant on social media saying, yeah, my boyfriend's from Peru, and he told me, and we agreed, that there is no such thing as Mexican brujeria. It's all witchcraft, but in Spanish.
Mm-mm.
And oh my God, did the community let him have it.
Good.
And he just kept egging everybody on to be more drama. And in the end, all of his excuse was, well, I'm pretty and I can say whatever I want. That was his excuse. I'm a sexy gay guy, and as a sexy gay guy, I can say whatever and I don't care. And in order to troll the community even more, he changed his business name to reflect the word brujeria as part of that name.
Yeah. Do you know what it reminds me of, Mictlán, is and I mean, and this is a very light comparison, but when you were talking about that, it reminds me of kids that we raise in the ghetto compared to kids that are raised in like middle class neighborhoods, because
that is exactly what it is.
we don't live in the ghetto per se, but we live in, if anyone from Spokane is watching this, we live near Hilliard, and Hilliard is a very
low mid class.
We're lower class. We're lower class. We're the poor. There's a lot of crime. There's a lot of stuff. And I've raised my children here to know that there's still community, and you have to go out there and trust that you know the people you can trust, but be aware and look out. And my kids have always functioned very well compared to kids that grow up in, and I'm not saying Wicca is the nicer neighborhood. I'm just saying that the goddess in Wicca is almost like the helicopter parent. And
I love that, and we're getting close to the end of the show here, but that is the perfect way to phrase this, because that energy of the lower class, the unsafe neighborhood and all of that, that's where she comes from, Santa Muerte.
Absolutely.
She's la reina del barrio. She's the queen of the ghetto. That's what she's always been. She will be found at a gay bar in the worst part of town any day of the week, while you have the goddess in the Circuit Hill in the middle of the woods going, please plant your plants and take care of your gardens for me. Santa Muerte is going, bitch, don't get shot when you go to get home from here. Takes a shot of tequila.
I like that you agreed with my comparison, because that when you were talking about it, I was like, that's what I pictured.
Yeah, it's a different environment that gave birth to their worship.
It's not better or worse.
It's a different
It's
environment
just
that created those religions.
It's the reality of where we are in our life, where we are in our path. That's why for me, working with Santa Muerte, I'm not ready to do it yet. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But I ask questions and I have guests and I read books. I'm not ready because I know what to expect. I'm not ready for that yet.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yep.
I got a frog in my throat. Do you want to?
Well, it's just so interesting because I know very little about Santa Muerte, and it fascinates me. I am very much into the darker, more the less bubbly aspects of witchcraft. Hoodoo, Santa Muerte, these darker crafts fascinate me, but I know very little about them. I just want to learn more. So I always appreciate when we get to talk to you and you just open up that door just a little bit more and I peek my head through, and it's not quite as scary as it was last time peeking through the door.
Yeah. And for me, I have some background in the Mexican culture and the things I've heard my mother talk about my grandmother, and so I'm very familiar with it. But I also know that I know my boundaries and I know my limitations, and right now not ready. But I know I will be called to her, and I know she will come to me when I'm ready. I just know that.
Yeah.
I'm not ready right now. She hasn't come to me, and I'm not butthurt. I'm like, that's okay, because I'm not ready to work with you either. But I'm on the outskirts going, okay.
Be aware of something that I've noticed in the pagan community, okay? Her and Hecate have this epic little game that they play with each other where they steal each other's devotees. It happens all the time. They're like going back and forth. They're like, Hecate and Santa Muerte play tennis with me. I'm the ball. I'm the ball.
And I
like,
remember you saying that. Because me working with, I've been studying Hecate for so long. She's just a part of me.
Yeah.
So Santa Muerte speaks to me, and I still know that Santa Muerte and Hecate are not the same, but there are similarities, and they are both very strong goddesses that will put you to the test.
They're not the same, but they live in the same neighborhood.
Yeah, they're like in the same neighborhood, because we talked about earlier, Hecate being the goddess of the criminals and the poor and the downtrodden and all that. She's very familiar with that.
They both have this tendency of stealing each other's devotees.
Yep. So when I'll know when Santa Muerte comes to me, and I know she will, because I'm opening up the door, but I'm also saying, hey, I'm not ready, but I want
so you know I'm still here.
I'm still here, and I'm curious as you know, AF. So, oh my God, Mictlán, we could go on. Like, that's why we have you on the show so many times, because we could just keep going and going.
Yep.
But unfortunately, our viewers have short attention span
And lives.
So, and it is 7
and
o'clock.
wine supplies.
And what?
And wine supplies.
And what? Yeah, and I've got some wine in me. But thank you so much, Mictlán. I'm gonna put your there we go.
Contact information.
Tio, what is that? Tio, say it.
Teotl Tonali. That's the name of my business. The word Teotl in Nahua means it literally means God. That's how you say God in Nahua, Teotl. The word Tonali is what the Coast Salish tribes would call a power animal or a totem animal.
Yeah.
So if you loosely translate it into English, it means divine spirit.
If you look at our YouTube description of this episode, you will see this link in there, and you can click on it, find out more about Mictlán and what he does. He is very talented. He's very gifted.
Powerful sorcerer.
Powerful.
You are on the water side of the Puget Sound area.
Yeah.
I do readings and shamanic healing work out of a shop in University Place, which is in the Tacoma area, called Mystic Sanctuary. I am there every Tuesday and Friday from 12 p.m. to 5.
I love that.
So if you look up Mystic Sanctuary, you can find me there, and you can agreements to come see me. So yeah, and keep an eye out somewhere later this year for Beneath the Veil of Death to be out in with Wicca Press. I'm hoping to be able to make it available in Amazon. I don't know if that's possible yet or not. We will see because it's an indie publisher, so we
Yeah.
never know how that goes.
We don't know how that
And
goes.
make no
I've
promises.
talked to a lot of authors, and they some, we had Jason Mankey on,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh yeah, I have a book coming out. It's kind of right now in the hands of the publishers and how that's gonna happen." And so yeah, that's amazing.
That's exactly how it's with me.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I have
So
another book already on the works.
yeah,
My next book that is eventually going to be finished, because this is not as easy as writing about Santa Muerte. Santa Muerte, she wrote most of that book.
yeah.
The book that I'm working on right now, that's mostly mine, and that is a book about soul loss from a shamanic perspective.
Oh wow.
And I
So-
know we've talked about that as well, which would be another wonderful topic. If you would love to come back to our show, I know that yeah, we love you so much. Fist pump,
Always learn so
fist
much.
pump.
You know, one thing that we haven't talked about that I want to cover eventually in one of your shows for your viewership is possession, because this last year I've been doing a lot of work on depossession work from a shamanic perspective. I have
Ooh.
upped my game and added another service, which is like the beginner's path to depossession work. I
Yeah.
haven't gotten into the really advanced stuff yet, but it's given me a deeper understanding of possession from a shamanic perspective. So that
Ooh.
was a really cool show to have eventually.
Oh,
Yep.
heck yeah.
This
That's-
last Spring Mysteries Festival in 2024, I taught a workshop on spirit possession as part of Spring Mysteries.
Oh my
So-
God.
I do something that in my community, my elders, the elder that I learned it from, she calls it compassionate depossession. And it's really what it is the best name for it, because it doesn't have the traditional Abrahamic perspective of the power of Christ compels you.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
when
No.
we work with compassionate depossession, we go, okay, I see you. You're
Yeah.
stuck, aren't you? You don't have your own body anymore. So you're hitchhiking on this person's body.
Yep.
You're not happy, are you? You
Yeah.
want to go home? Okay, we can send you home. Come
Yeah.
here. Me and my friends are going to help you go home.
Yeah. I
But
love
we
it.
use that energy with a lot of love and respect and compassion for both the living and the dead.
Absolutely. I'm so excited for that. So thank you so much, Mictlán. And for those of you who would like to donate to our coven, we would love to be able to bring these shows to you, do the public rituals that we do. We have a Discord channel that we do a lot of stuff on. And we are always helping out other groups in the public and putting on rituals and helping them with that. We are a nonprofit. We have a Venmo. It's venmo.com, COTCATC. And guess what? Our PayPal is the same thing, paypal.com, COTCATC. And there's our Discord. I know that you guys won't be able to click on that, but it is in the description. I highly recommend if you would like to see our daily devotionals, our workshops,
Our full moon rituals.
our full moon rituals. Come on over to the Discord channel, and also there's just lots of great chat and education and information and fun. And if you are interested in what we do as a coven, you're like, hey, I want to maybe have a show idea, or maybe I could be a guest, or I might have a wine suggestion. You can email us at
crossroadscoven@gmail.com.
I'm sorry, what was that?
That's crossroadscoven@gmail.com.
Thank you so much for joining us. Oh my God, Mictlán, we're going to have you back. Witches and Wine is back. We've got next week, we have our friend Bill Ginzoli, who was basically born into witchcraft, studied with Oberon Zell
As a child.
child,
was raised in that community.
He is a crystals aficionado. I've had wine. And he's got a book coming out as well. The week after that, we got Cindel Wallace, who is a local healer, and she's an amazing woman. And then the week after that, we'll have all the dates. We have the Archpriestess of ATC Canada, Mary Malinsky. And then that same week, we have Lord Alexian, who is an amazing musician, an amazing teacher. So Witches and Wine is back in high gear. Thank you so much for supporting us. Everyone be very, very wonderfully compassionate to each other and always walk with the goddess. And until next time, blessed be.
Bye, all.
Bye, everyone. Blessed be.
And remember to clink and drink.